What book number is this for you? How many have you written?
This is my second book. The first book was a collection of short stories, linked short stories. It's called 17 Tomatoes, Tales from Kashmir. And it's a huge title. And I was very inspired by my poet friends because they prefer single word titles. And I challenged myself to come up with a single word title, and eventually I came up with Chef. So Chef is this story narrated by this apprentice chef about his mentor. And both of them once upon a time used to work for the chief of the Indian Army staff. So there are really three chefs in the book.
For people who don't know, Kashmir is almost a no man's land in some ways, right? It's both Pakistan and India have a claim to it.
That's correct, and the border is contested. That's why when I started working on this book, I knew that the Siachen glacier, which falls between India and Pakistan in Kashmir, it was going to have a big monumental presence, because this glacier kind of problematizes the whole notion of borders and nation states. When a glacier starts moving, how do you tell where the line is? You know, my own personal memory about Kashmir, I was not born there. I was born in Punjab, and my father was in the armed forces, and when I was 6, he got transferred to Kashmir. And at school there was a Kashmiri Muslim boy, and his mother would, pack him this lunchbox, and he would introduce me to these Kashmiri dishes like Rogan Josh and Gushtaba, and my mother would pack my lunchbox with Punjabi parathas and other amazing Punjabi dishes. So during recess, we would swap our lunch boxes. And once or twice, we quarreled, but we never discontinued swapping the lunch boxes. And those lunch boxes are permanently embedded in my mind. It's kind of ironic that I started writing 17 Tomatoes and Chef. Chef is like one unfinished story out of 17 Tomatoes. I started writing these books when Kashmir was going through a very dark time. There was a serious risk of a nuclear exchange between India and Pakistan. In 2002, there were 1 million soldiers at the border, the contested border. And, during those troubled times, whenever I would think about Kashmir, it would paralyze me. But then whenever I started thinking about those lunch boxes and Kashmiri food, it brought a lot of lightness to my writing, and I was able to write it down.
There's a prisoner of war, a woman who's getting interrogated. Now, reading the back of the book, she's based on a real woman. Did I get that right?
That's right. Yeah, partially based on a real story.
And that was what helped spark this book?
Kirpal's story helped me to tell many other stories, and his task is to do this soft interrogation. When we eat together, when we dine together, we confess a lot.
And there are a lot of meals where things happen like that.
Exactly. Kirpal keeps posing all kinds of questions like, is it possible for someone to cook well when they are completely happy or when they are completely sad? But the essential question I posed for Kirpal was, how do you cook for the enemy? And when he starts cooking for the enemy, when he starts eating with the enemy, he, starts figuring out the so-called truth about the enemy, and also starts questioning his own assumptions.
Even about who the enemy is, I think.
So lots of lies come to surface, not just about the enemy, but also about his own people. So I think food for him at times is a shield. He at times hides behind food and cooking, but his interactions with Iram go the other way, and he gets closer and closer towards truth.
The book is Chef. I've been speaking with the author Jaspreet Singh and Chef, published by Vintage Canada.